It's about maybe 15 years ago. I forget why, but I was in Baltimore. And I was walking near Lexington Market, not the greatest neighborhood, not the worst in Baltimore, but not the greatest. And like so many people, as I was just walking down the street, I walked by a homeless man, but as I saw him in my periphery vision sitting in front of on a wall, something told me, stop. I turned and I looked at him. As I looked at him, the only thing that I could get out was, are you okay? Because besides being homeless and disheveled, he was also severely beaten and bruised. His face was swollen immensely. He looked like he was in pain. And he said, no, I'm not okay. He told me his story about how he had been jumped by 4 or 5 young people a few days prior, and they had taken the little possessions that he had. He was in the hospital for a couple days, and now he was out. He had nowhere to go, and just posted up on Saratoga Street. And as I walked and talked with him, I gave him some money to go up to the market to get a meal, and he hugged me. I remember so clearly, he smelled of sour milk, like exactly like sour milk. Now you may be thinking, Father Zach, that's such a nice story. It's like the gospel, right? You helped the guy you found on the side of the road. Except I wasn't a priest back then. And the priest in the parable walked on the opposite side of the road. And I thought, when's the last time I gave a homeless person money? When's the last time I rolled down my window when someone was standing on the corner with a sign? When's the last time I saw someone sitting on the streets as human? Brothers and sisters, I can't remember. I can't remember. Our first reading is from the book of Deuteronomy, second law, Deuteronomy. And to build some context, we have to remember the Israelites had been given the 10 Commandments. They had been given the Torah, the law. And that was supposed to be enough. Because of their proximity to God, they're supposed to know His mind and to know His will and to love Him and be loved by Him and thus be able to apply the 10 Commandments to any situation and to know what they're supposed to do. Didn't work out. Didn't work out one bit. Even before they get to the promised land, the Israelites sin and they break the covenant and they turn away from God and they sin again and they complain. And so God gives them a second law, much more detailed, much more difficult to live, so that it can specifically be applied to specific situations. And so at the end of this second law, this is chapter 30 of Deuteronomy, Moses is giving them a final exhortation. He's going to die. They're going to go into the promised land. And he's saying, if only you would listen. If only you would heed. Because God has not made Himself far from you. He's not up in the sky or across the ocean that we have to say who will go and find Him. He is near to you and has been for some time. And yet you will not heed. You will not listen. God has made Himself, He has made His will, His mind, His love abundantly apparent to the Israelites, where they don't have to think about it. They don't have to ponder and worry. What's God like? Where is He? What's He doing? They know. St. Paul continues this theme and takes it a step further. Our second reading from the letter to the Colossians. First verse, Jesus Christ is the image of the invisible God. The image, the physical manifestation, the thing to which you look and see, oh, that's what God is like. Oh, that's who God is. Oh, that's how God sounds. That's how God teaches. He's not far off. He's not some mystery. He's a man. He's one of us. And what are the sort of things he did? What are the sort of things he taught? Well, when questioned, what must I do to achieve eternal life? Very important. How does God respond? You know the answer. You know the law. Follow the law. But it's so interesting how the scholar of the law in our gospel today answers. He quotes something very common, the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is your God and the Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind. That makes sense. Even a Jew today would be like, yeah, that's the top of the law. But then he adds in this little obscure line from Leviticus. I think it's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 20, somewhere around there. Just obscure amongst other teachings, other rules, other regulations. There's just one line. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And the scholar of the law is able to pick that out, demonstrating he really does get it. He understands the law. But so that he might justify himself, he questions Jesus further. Who is my neighbor? And what does Jesus say? The man you hate. See, the Samaritans and the Jews hated each other. They had for some time, by the time of Jesus. And they wanted nothing to do with each other. They didn't cohabitate, they didn't marry, they didn't trade, they didn't speak to each other. And Jesus says, that's the guy who's going to save you. Jesus is the image of the invisible God. He's not far from us. He's not some unrecognizable, unintelligible being. His teachings are simple. His example is readily understood. You wish to have eternal life? Be like Jesus. And who is Jesus? He's the one who dies for the unjust. He's the one who sacrifices for those who don't deserve it. Jesus is the one who goes to those who hate him and he heals them. Brothers and sisters, we are called to love one another. But love is a higher bar than we wish it to be. It requires more of us than we want. We are called to go to those we hate, to those who hate us, and serve them. If only we would do it. If only we would heed the teaching that we've all received, a parable we've heard dozens of times. And yet, when we look at the homeless, when we see those in need, do we see them as human? Or do we see them as a nuisance, as a burden, as someone we wish not to associate with, and pass on the other side of the road, just like the priest. We are called to eternal life. But if we wish to receive it, we have to start looking at each other and seeing human beings.